show is brought to you by Safety FM.
The following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, it doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yeah, baby. We are coming to you live from the Safety FM studios in good old Orlando, Florida. Today is Tuesday, March the 24th of 2020, day 84 of the year, and only 282 days left before the year is over with, number-wise. Anyways, I want to make sure that we do bring it up today. Our show today is sponsored by Total Rain. Oh, yes, that is Rain, Total Body Fuel. If you're into that kind of energy drink stuff, that's the stuff that keeps us powered here at good old Safety FM, at least on this little show, because that's what I feel like I'm drinking all the time. Anyways, let's kind of get you started. So if you're taking a listen to us, and this is your first time, I'm sorry that this is the first time, because this might be a little bit torturous for you, and that's perfectly fine, because I'm cool with that kind of stuff. Anyways, so we are streaming right now on safetyfm.com. If you're listening to us via podcast, you're getting it as a little delayed version. We're also streaming on the different platforms that are available out there for streaming purposes, and that's perfectly fine. Anyways, this is episode 93, just so you are aware. So what we do here is I sit around, bitch, and complain. You take a listen to what I got going on. We talk about mostly about the news, talk about stuff that's going on in the safety world, and then I bitch about some other things on the back end.
Duh.
That's just kind of the way that it goes. So besides that going on today, we're going to do some stuff that we've been doing as of late, which is talking about Feature Story News, which is a partner of ours. That way you can take a listen to what's going on news-wise inside of the cycle and the different things. We try to bring you the news that is non-spin news before I get into my little gravitas of information here. So let's take a listen to our friends at Featured Story News, and then we'll get moving.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. The Tokyo 2020 Olympics are being postponed for a year because of the coronavirus pandemic. They were due to start on the 24th of July, and it's the first time the Games have ever been postponed. Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe says the International Olympic Committee has agreed to the one-year delay. Gail Ems, who won an Olympic silver medal in badminton in 2004, says it will be incredibly complicated.
Obviously, got another year preparation, how they're going to sort of change all the qualifications. But the other sports, the sports that are in the Olympic Games have to, can't start going, well, we've got our World Championships then, we can't have it then. This has never happened before. So everyone has got to compromise, and we have to work together. There's no point everyone going, well, we're going to lose money on this, we're going to lose money. This is the Olympic Games.
The World Health Organization warns the US could become the epicenter of the COVID-19 pandemic. William Denslow reports from New York.
According to recent estimates, New York City accounts for around 30% of all COVID-19 cases in the United States. And the White House warns that the coronavirus's attack rate is 5 times higher than anywhere else in the US. The World Health Organization spokesperson Margaret Harris warns there's been a very large acceleration of cases in the US, and it could become the new global epicenter of this pandemic.
Europe continues to adjust to life under lockdown as the daily death toll in Spain begins to surpass that of Italy. Spain's reported 514 deaths in a single day. Italy's Civil Protection Agency, meanwhile, says the country may have 10 times more cases of coronavirus than officially recorded. Lucy Hoff reports from Brussels.
Italy has now officially registered nearly 64,000 cases of coronavirus, but the real figure could be more than 600,000. That's according to the head of the Civil Protection Agency, Angelo Borelli, who says for every certified positive case, there are 10 non-certified. This would account for why the death rate has been higher in Italy than elsewhere in the world. Meanwhile, the situation is continuing to worsen in Spain, the second worst hit nation in Europe. The death toll there has reached nearly 2,700, with over 5,000 health workers infected. The cases are mostly in Madrid, Catalonia and the Basque Country, but the numbers are growing in other regions.
The The UK is in its first full day of an effective lockdown to try and slow the spread of coronavirus. Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced the move in a national address. People are being directed to stay home and should only leave for very limited purposes. Restrictions will be in place for 3 weeks at least. Shadow Health Secretary John Ashworth says he supports the move.
This is about saving lives. This is a really, really serious virus. People are dying and more people, sadly, are going to die. So we have to take these measures and they have to be enforced properly.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
You are listening to a radio god. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a radio god. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, so you are listening to Safety FM, the Rated R Safety Show. So you're getting the news as exactly it is going on. I want to share it directly on how I actually get it, opposed to me giving you a spin on that particular segment. So let's just kind of start talking a little bit before I go into my traditional, information on what's going on. So as we speak right now, stay-at-home orders are taking place in the following states. I'm going to give it to you a list right here. So Hawaii, New Mexico, Washington, Michigan, Wisconsin, Oregon, West Virginia, Massachusetts, Indiana, Ohio, Louisiana, Delaware, California, Illinois, New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey. So are you in one of those states where they're saying, hey, you shouldn't actually go out and about? And what are you seeing as these states are telling you to do so if you're in one of those states? If you're not in one of those states, what are you thinking? Are you thinking that this is something that should take place across the planet here? And I mean that literally, across the planet. I mean, we can, of course, talk about the nation here that we're in. At least I'm in the United States. But is that something that you see that would be worth your while? Now, before I forget, I want to make reference to this because I know some people are going to give me some shit about it. The chat box, for some reason today, is not loading messages, so I can't see anything that anyone's typing. Not that I'm ignoring you, and not that I'm saying I don't ignore people on purpose sometimes, but I'm saying today I definitely can't see it. So the chat box is not loading. If you're putting a message on there, I apologize. You might be able to sneak it in if you go to safetyfm.com and go into the bot, but for right now, the one that normally presents itself on the screen, I just want you to be aware that it is not loading. I'm going to go in here again and see if we can get it to reload. I think that my only option would be actually to go into the sequence and have it actually, let me see. I think if I actually go in here and try to do it where it would give me everything, I have to reboot the system. And I'm going to tell you, as we speak right now, I don't think it might be the best idea to reboot the system, especially because I'm trying to do a show. Just saying. So just wanted you to be aware of that going on here. So what else are you seeing out here in this world at this particular moment? Because there's a lot of strange things going on. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a way that this is just what's happening. This is the world that we're currently in. So what's going on inside of your organizations? Are you being told to come into work? Are you working remotely? What's going on? These are the different things that I keep on wondering, and I guess this was kind of our play today in regards of going over some of that information, but I guess unless you go to the bot, I'm not going to be able to do that or take a listen to or take a read on what you were going to share. So anyways, let's continue. I'm going to give you the hit. Let's take it from the top. And here's what's going on. The Wall Street Journal estimates that 500,000 short-term food services, retail, and manufacturing jobs will be created in the coming weeks. Oh, yes, you heard me correctly. The long-term concerns is the disappearance of smaller firms, which do not survive the economic shutdown and can't hire employees back when it's able to staff back up. So this is some of the concerns that we're seeing, especially if you're in a smaller area, local market, or if you're just in a local owned franchise or local store, on how they're going to be able to survive that. I mean, I'll tell you, yesterday we did have the conversation that someone like Walmart was hiring 15,000 people, and they said that they were able to hire people even same day, which is a good thing, don't get me wrong, but what happens to the mom and pop shops that are out there? This makes you kind of think, but I'm glad that Walmart is able to bring some people on. The Dow sunk 582 points on Monday after a brief mid-afternoon rally on news of Senate Democrats holding out on an economic relief package, and Speaker Nancy Pelosi would introduce a compelling bill in the House. Boeing stock ticked up 10% on news of heavy investment from Goldman Sachs. So interesting that planes are going down currently. Goldman Sachs, better saying, is actually investing into them. Don't you think the timing's kind of weird? I don't know. I'm just telling you what I see. Anyways, nearly half of all confirmed coronavirus cases in New York State and 12,000 alone in New York City, of course. The state is highly populated and testing aggressively. In the meantime, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has ordered anyone arriving from New York City and surrounding areas to quarantine for 14 days after arrival to the state. Now, how are they enforcing that? And now I'm not going to pick on the governor here in the glorious state of Florida, but how's that being enforced? By the way, quarantine yourself. Is that what they're telling people? Because I'm going to tell you that's probably not going to be the case. I would love to say that is, but unless you have some kind of level of enforcement that you can actually force that in. Now, keep in mind that this is snowbird season. People are here from up north, and they end up leaving, coming, all that kind of fun stuff because it's normally cold in the up north. So I don't know. And I'm not saying, hey, stay in New York, but I'm also saying how are they enforcing this? Anyways, let's continue. New Hampshire resident Ashley Furness went hiking with a friend at Mount Washington Sunday when she slipped and tumbled down 200 feet on a rocky slope. She miraculously survived. One conversation officially says the rocks are likely stopped her from falling into the nearby ravine, which would have likely killed her. So, I don't believe New Hampshire is actually on the list, or was it on the list? I don't even remember anymore. But you have to look at it and go, okay, so social distancing and all that kind of stuff. Do you want to be taking the risk of doing all this crazy shit at the moment? Nothing wrong with hiking, but look at that. I wonder how somebody found her. I mean, that's the other part. At least I'm glad that she was with a friend, but is that really social distancing? Were they 6 feet apart? I mean, that's a whole other conversation. Anyways, researchers in Australia have discovered a fossil believed to be over 550 million years old, and one of the earliest examples of bilateral organisms, essentially meaning that it had defined three-dimensional shapes. What? They've been dubbed Icariota, whatever the hell that means. It's also half the size of a grain of rice.
Duh.
So how the hell do you discover that? I mean, what do you look at and go, hey, this makes sense to me?
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's take a listen right here. Lucky Devil's Lounge in Portland is a gentleman's club that had shut its doors because of the state's gathering ban. Now the owner has pivoted to food delivery services and is keeping his staff of performers employed as delivery drivers. Owner Shun Bolden has dubbed the service Boober Eats, a takeoff of Uber's namesake food delivery service. Delivery fees are quite high, around $30 just for the lady to get the food to your door. That's different. I mean, that's for sure different. Boober Eats. So if you were in Portland, now I'm going to tell you that if you've been out to Portland, Oregon, you might have noticed that there's a shitload of strip clubs. They have a higher strip club per capita than Las Vegas did. So Boober Eats is something different, something interesting for sure. Don't know, on how that would go over. And what exactly does Boober Eats do when they arrive? And I'm not trying to get dirty here, for sure. But, I mean, what are they doing? Because some people, after doing some research here, had referenced that that's lap dance fees. And I'm not saying that's what they're doing, but, man, that's kind of a weird and different approach to the whole thing.
Duh.
Anyways, let's continue. If you've seen estimated delivery dates from Amazon into late April, you're not alone. One spokesman confirms to Vox Recode that the company's prioritizing delivery of staple items and other purchases will be significantly delayed. So I guess what they're doing right now, that if it's actually considered an important item, you'll get it ahead of time. If it's something that they believe or they're deeming as not important, you're not going to get it quick. just kind of the way that it's going right now at the moment. And I don't know why that's the case, but that just seems to be what is going on in the world as we speak right now. So just keep that in mind as we're doing this.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
As your business continues to change, so does the support and help that your business needs. Here at Safety Focus Moment, we want to be able to continue to meet the needs that you have as an organization. Just because the world around us has changed does not mean that we're not there for you. We are currently running a special offer to the Safety FM listeners. All speaking engagements, cross-industry workshops, transportation and logistics workshops, and audio services, including commercials such as this one, are available at a special price of 50% off. If you go to safetyfocusmoment.com, that's safetyfocusmoment.com, and use code VIRTUAL, VIRTUAL. That's virtual, VIRTUAL. You'll get 50% off your order. Please be aware that Safety Focus Moment is here for you, meeting all of your business needs during this unique time in the world.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
So, of course, if you've been looking at what's going to be your next sports fix, I got some bad news. Not probably going to want to hear this one. But the USA Today reports that the Olympics in Tokyo will be postponed. An insider tells them that the decision has been made, but the International Olympic Committee is working out the details and will perhaps wait on how the coronavirus pandemic pans out. Meanwhile, Canada's and Australia's Olympic Committee have said that the athletes will not compete in the 2020 or they won't compete in 2020 if it's held. Well, I will tell you, as of when I was looking up the news story to right now, that has officially been made. They have actually officially announced that they will not be actually having the 2020 Olympics until 2021.
Duh.
So probably not the best thing you want to hear. And I know that right now I keep on seeing a lot of people saying, hey, I'm looking for some normalcy on what's going on. And I think as much as we want to talk about it, the normalcy that you're going to see going out in the normal world is mostly going to occur on what you have going on at home. And I don't mean that to be an asshole.
Duh.
I'm only telling you that from the standpoint of you're going to see some different things first before we start seeing these crazy changes. Of course, that's just a guess here from my part, but that's just kind of the way that it seems that everything is going. Anyways, let's continue. Oklahoma endured a Series 7 small earthquakes on Sunday into Monday. They range from magnitude 1.6 to 2.5. Not much to cause a notable tremor, let alone damage or injury. Interesting on how we keep on seeing more and more earthquakes as of late. I don't know if you've noticed that or been paying close attention to the news, but that is something that's been going on quite a bit as of lately. And there seems to be more and more of them. And I just don't understand what the hell is going on. Los Angeles Rams are out with a new look. The updated logo includes LA woodwork with an A turning into modern-looking ram horn. So, if you get a moment, go ahead and check it out. It is available on their website. Now, I think that it's interesting that they still have people that are putting these things out there.
Duh.
Because I think it's trying to introduce the normalcy, the things being normal. I mean, I'll tell you right now, you're unable to make it to the movie theater. A lot of movies are being released directly onto on demand. So, and I know that some people are out there not trying to spend any kind of money whatsoever. And that's fine too, because those things happen. Now, I'm going to tell you, I wanted to share some information with you, even though it's not news related, but I think it's interesting because with everything going on time-wise right now and everything going on in the world, people are still trying to do things that are, will say, iffy from time to time. Not everybody, just some. Now, I think it's funny. I wanted to share this information. Last week, we put on a pretty big town hall in Safety FM world. And the interesting part was that we had a whole bunch of speakers, we promoted some stuff, did some different things. But the interesting part was, regardless of us being able to do it, there were still some people that were not happy. And there were some people that were not happy with the content. There were some people that were not happy on how they were being promoted, and I just find it interesting. So we're trying to provide information for you to get information on what's going on. And, we want to make sure that we're meeting your needs in that particular regards. But I also have people that were upset on how they were being promoted on the event themselves. And they went as far as, requesting changes and being promoted differently and all this. And I thought it was pretty interesting because of the time that we're in on how much hogwash or bullshit in this particular case this was about. It was like we should drop everything that we were doing to promote you differently. And I just don't get it. And if you're listening, that's perfectly fine. I'm not offended by saying it out loud. But then they want to be keyboard tough people and talk about, this, that, and how they were unhappy. But when you call them out on their bullshit, because that's what it is, they shrink down and pretend like they didn't mean anything by it. And I just don't understand it. It's like, if you don't like how you're promoted, that's fine. Let's have a conversation, but don't act all tough and then try to call some bullshit out if that wasn't what you were trying to say in the first place. What I find that's interesting is that we had some special guests on there, and we had some different people from different segments of life, and that's perfectly fine. And we had a pretty well-known TV show guy that was on by the name of Dustin Anderson, which we did not promote. We didn't promote the guy. We didn't promote him at all because he was part of some people that joined, and we were trying not to promote certain people because they were special guests. And that's perfectly fine. You know how many complaints I got from Dustin Anderson? And from the TV show that he was in? Or that he's in, better saying? You want to know how many complaints? Are you going to guess? 0. 0 complaints. Non-promoted. Pretty big name that was on there. So I thought that was kind of funny. Funny on how some of these things work out from time to time.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show. Self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Then the other thing that kind of has been driving me crazy as of late. You know what I find interesting? Where people want to help you or want you to help them share your messaging. And I think that social media is kind of like high school sometimes, where people want to be popular and well-known. So I have this person that every time they post something, they tag me on there. And hey, that's their deal, and that's perfectly fine. But last week, I had an interaction with a person, and I called them out on their bullshit. Straight up called them out in front of a group of people. Bad on my part. And now, all of a sudden, I have been removed as their connection on the little interwebs of social media, which is fine. But they continue to tag me on all their stuff. Well, if I'm not good enough to be part of your network, why am I good enough to be tagged? Don't you think you should be removing me from your tags as well? I mean, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Because I just don't get it. I really don't. It's like, we can be friends and we can do some different things. But man, don't waste my time in tagging me in your stuff if you're going to unfriend me, because apparently I wasn't good enough to be part of your group. So now don't tag me into the rest of your shit that you got going on. I'm not picking, I'm just saying, and that's the other funny part, is that people stand behind their keyboard and they are very, very tough as they're here. Well, I normally go directly into the microphone, and as of late, I go directly into the camera. That way you know exactly who I'm talking to, because when I email you or I call you and you decide not to pick up, I can't have the discussion with you. So, something to think about. Anyways, sorry about going off on that tangent.
Duh.
Because that's the things that happen that drive me crazy with people from time to time. Anyways, no winner for Saturday night's Powerball drawing. Wednesday's night drawings will be for $150 million jackpot, as we discussed yesterday, or $114.8 million cash payout. No winner for Friday night's Mega Million drawing. Tonight's drawing will be for $101 million jackpot, or a $76.5 million cash payout. So that's what's going on there. Not much that I can share with you in regards to the days of the year that you can celebrate, because I am not really doing a lot of information looking at that. So just so you are aware, also, I want to make a reference real quick, because I don't think that there's been enough of this, so I want to make sure that it is referenced. We have to thank some of the people right now that are out there that are heroes. And what do I mean? People that are heroes at the moment. The grocery store workers, the truck drivers, the doctors, the nurses, the admin staff that is checking in people into the hospital. Crucial services, people that are having to go into work to make sure that they're still able to manufacture food and manufacture these different things that are considered needs and necessities. Let's not forget that these people are giving of their time. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're getting paid, but they're still giving of their time to focus on the needs of others. I have a friend that I've known for years, and her husband left yesterday to drive cross-country just to be able to make a delivery of a trailer with some important goods. And many of people are doing certain things to that extent that are in that industry. And they're putting themselves at risk. Let's just be realistic. Let's not lie. So I look at it and I go, let's be appreciative of these things and understand that not all superheroes wear capes. Not all heroes brag about everything that they do. So I want you to be aware that there's a lot of people that are out there that are helping in this time of need in ways that we probably would have never thought before on how important it was going to be on what's going on. So I wanted to share that with you today. Something that kept on bothering me over the last few days, and wanted to make sure that this information was something that we discussed. Anyways, like I've always told you, you have been and always will be the best part of Safety FM, and that's the listener. So I don't really have much going on that I have to share with you. I will tell you this. We are going to be jumping in and jumping out in regards of giving information on what we got going on inside of the safety world. We are going to vet a lot of this information as best as possible before it is presented to you, because that's important as well. But as you're out there, be safe, whatever that determination means. Take a look at what you can do in this environment. Take a look at what other things are available. Is the risk worth the reward? Is it a need or is it a want? Don't get me wrong. I know being locked up in your house for a long period of time is not the best of things. But it's what's going on at this particular moment in some areas. So stay if you can, unless it's a necessity that you need to go out. Yesterday, I was actually in communication with one of the hosts here on Safety FM, and they still work a normal job. And they work in a company that is considered a necessity. And they showed me what the letter looked like that they have to actually show to law enforcement if they were to get pulled over. And I felt bad that they had to go through this, but they also the person also understood that they were needed for what they were doing. And I said, I won't add on to the thing. And they go, no, that they were very understanding on what they had to do. And those things like that, I appreciate. I know it's difficult. I know it's not easy to leave your family behind to go do what we call work in these particular times, especially if you're around a group of people. But it's those heroes that we don't see day in, day out, that I appreciate. I appreciate a lot of things that the people are doing. I appreciate the things that they're actually out there doing to help out, even though it's behind the scenes. You don't have to be in the limelight to be helping out at this particular moment. And wanting to help out to be in the limelight alone, that's not the reason to do it. Anyways, I've been telling people for weeks now, I'm looking for some people that are interested in coming on to Safety FM, not necessarily this show, to discuss the different things that they have going on organization-wise, what they can help out in regards to the world of safety. If we're still looking for some of those people, I've had some people email. We are actually in the transition of replying back to a good chunk of them, so just so you are aware. So if you have not received an email back, don't worry. We're getting to it either later this afternoon if you haven't received one, or as late as tomorrow morning, just so you're aware. So that's one thing. The other portion, we have a contest going on right now at Safety FM. If you actually click on the link and kind of follow some of the instructions that are there, we're giving a year away of podcasting hosting services. Let me get that out correctly. And what that consists of is that if you want to start a new podcast, we will give you the platform for you to update or upload a podcast to, and you can get started rolling. That way you can share some of the messaging from your company, from you, whatever you want to do. The podcast form is yours. We give it to you. We don't have any control over it. The only thing that I'm going to say is here, you won. Here you go. Congratulations. It's yours for a year. You do whatever you want. After the year, boom. You decide how you want to move forward with your podcast. Who the hell knows? You might be the next big thing. You never know where any of these things are going to go. Anyways, just wanted to share some of that information with you. Right now, it's a little after 12:30, so I'll get you back to your normally scheduled program here on safetyfm.com, if that's where you're following. If you're on the podcast format, then you're not going to get to anything else unless you go to another podcast. Also, before I forget, today on the Jay Allen Show, we did have an interview that came out with Nathan Braidman, and that is Redbeard from the Safety Justice League. I think that if you do have the opportunity and you take to listen to this show quite a bit, the Rated R Safety Show, you might really enjoy that interview that we did today with Nathan Braidman. Anyways, not much else going on. If there's anything we can do in the interim time, please don't hesitate on coming to safetyfm.com. And you can go into the little bot, leave a little message there. We'll get us rolling, get that moving, and see what we can come up with. Hold on, I got something in the bot here. What does my shirt mean? Okay, I'll tell you real quick. He, and then a greater sign, and then I, and a minor. So he is capitalized, greater, math symbol, I small. So he is greater than I. So yeah, nice little surf company out of Hawaii. And has more than just that meaning behind it. Look it up. You might enjoy it. Anyways, you've been listening to the Rated R Safety Show. I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you. Mean it. Bye.
Duh.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
As your business continues to change, so does the support and help that your business needs. Here at Safety Focus Moment, we want to be able to continue to meet the needs that you have as an organization. Just because the world around us has changed does not mean that we're not there for you. We are currently running a special offer to the Safety FM listeners. All speaking engagements, cross-industry workshops, transportation and logistics workshops, and audio services, including commercials such as this one, are available at a special price of 50% off. If you go to safetyfocusmoment.com, that's safetyfocusmoment.com, and use code VIRTUAL, VIRTUAL. That's virtual, VIRTUAL. You'll get 50% off your order. Please be aware that Safety Focus Moment is here for you, meeting all of your business needs during this unique time in the world.